Trayvon Walker continues to go up NFL draft boards, and I want to talk about what that means as a reflection of Kirby Smart's program at Georgia. You may or may not remember Trayvon Walker coming out of Upson Lee High School. Was a premier five-star guy coming out of Thompson, Georgia, where he won the state championship in basketball and played middle linebacker and tight end really for Upson Lee at the time. And when he got to Georgia, his first season was exclamated by a play he made against Bo Nix and Georgia's win over Auburn in 2019 to wrap up the SEC East the week before, I think, the Texas A&M game. And Trayvon was a guy that didn't enroll early. He was a highly touted guy, five-star guy, comes from a military background. Father is a Marine. And I think for me that we never heard a lot about Trayvon Walker and that it looks like he could go in the top 10 in the NFL draft. I do think that says something about Kirby's program. I want to make sure you're checking out DAWGSTRUCTION. There's a link below. There's a really cool picture of Trayvon in here. The thing that people are most interested in are the images. And not like the storytelling isn't good. It is. But the images are pretty impressive, if I do say so myself. There he is knocking off Luke Doty's helmet. Obviously not purposely, but could you imagine having his arm wrapped around your head like that? And then Robert Beal, another guy who has had a good season at Georgia and a good end of his career because he's got a year left. Make sure you're picking up DAWGSTRUCTION. We're going into what will be our fourth run of books, and I don't want you to miss out. We've got about 20-ish. Well, it's fewer than that actually because I got to send some out. Make sure you're picking it up. The link is right below. With Trayvon, I want to go through here guys who have more tackles than him on this team. Now, this is not the end-all be-all statistic because playing on defensive line, you're not going to make a ton of tackles just the same way a safety wouldn't make a lot of sacks. But these players had more total tackles than Trayvon Walker. So that's Lewis Seen, Nakobe Dean, Channing Tindall, Quay Walker, Nolan Smith, Darian Kidrick, Dan Jackson. That's a pretty amazing one. Devontae Wyatt, Latravius Brini, and Jalen Carter. They all had more tackles. Tackles for loss, Trayvon was high. He was not number one. He was number 5 on this team in tackles for loss. In terms of sacks, he was number 3 with 6. He did not have any interceptions. The one thing he did lead the team in, and this is maybe why he is moving on up, as they say, he had 32 quarterback pressures. That's about 2 a game, a little bit more than that. But to me, it speaks to, 15 games played, 37 total tackles, 19 solo, 18 assists, 7 tackles for loss, of which 6 were sacks, 2 pass breakups, and a fumble recovery. That was his year. So statistically, that's pretty good, no question about it. But why is he moving up? I think people are seeing him in person, and obviously the freak number that he ran in the 40 in Indianapolis was step number one. That running that fast, it's hard to put that into words because Trayvon is a sizable person. He is not small at all, and running that fast was a real eye opener. But it, Todd McShay kind of gets it. It kind of says it in a way that I think wraps up my feelings the best on this. He says Walker never received the attention that Jordan Davis or Nakobe Dean got on that Georgia defense, but he will be drafted ahead of both of them on April 28th. He ran a 4.51 40-yard dash at 272 pounds. That's faster than several defensive backs that ran that time. His 6.89 3-cone drill was, that's not normal. And then he had a 35.5-inch vertical and a 10.3 broad. These are all things that scream explosion. That it means you're twitchy with the 3-cone drill. All that stuff is what you're seeing what will lead to production in the NFL. Um, McShay adds up something here too. He says some will argue that sack production isn't there. Again, we talked about he had 6 sacks at Georgia. Why did he have six? Well, Todd goes on to say it will come. Walker wore a lot of hats for the Bulldogs front. That's something that Kirby talked about on Wednesday during Pro Day. You know, why didn't why didn't Trayvon Walker have more in terms of numbers? Well, he wasn't asked to go sack the quarterback. Sometimes he was asked to set the edge. So I mean, sometimes it was the particular assignment he had. I can't recall Trayvon dropping back in coverage a ton. He did in high school for sure, but Georgia, he was not their sort of designated pass rusher before Adam Anderson was arrested. Adam Anderson definitely was. After that, Robert Beal was, and then you had no shortage of Nakobe Dean, Channing Tindall, and Quay Walker flying through open holes because people were concerned about Trayvon and Jordan and Jalen Carter. All of these names are, Georgia had an elite defense in terms of the history of the sport. And one of the reasons why was because of Walker. And now people are seeing him separated from the pack. And he looks good. He looks good in a way that people are probably going to draft him. It's starting to look like in the top 10 of this draft. I will tell you, I had a conversation with someone extremely close with him. Um, in October, which was close with Trayvon Walker in October, and they didn't know as a family if they were going to leave and go into the draft. I mean, it wasn't a certainty. So it totally turned out to be the right move, unless something bizarre happens in these next, in the next month. He's going to be a first round draft pick. He is, and that was not a certainty at the time. Okay, from the family's perspective. So they wanted to make sure they got all of the stuff squared away. They wanted to make sure they got all of the nuts and bolts handled. The number one thing for him during the season was trying to win a championship. Again, this is Trayvon, who won state championships in basketball at Upson Lee. This was a spectacular basketball program. And he was one of the reasons why. It just happened that he was a professional football player playing high school basketball. I mean, it'd be like, Larry Brown did that. There's no shortage of guys who were, NFL football players that played high school basketball. I would imagine most of them did. But with Walker, he didn't just play; he was electric. Um, I think he's moving up because people are getting a real close look at him, just physically, as well as you know, talking to him. He's an impressive man. And Jordan has gotten, and understandably so, Jordan has gotten a lot of the attention. Jordan, what he's done in this run up to the draft has been exceptional. But something has prepared these guys. It's the program, it's the every single day uh, fight that they're having to get through. Imagine going up against Jamari every day. The year before that, you were going up against guys like, or seasons before that, you were going up against other first rounders in Isaiah Wilson or Andrew Thomas. What's happening is competition is taking over. That's why Trayvon is going high. He's earned it. It's not just everything he did at Georgia, it's stuff he's done since. No question. He's moving up because of what he's done since. But what's prepared him has been the rigor of playing at Georgia and obviously the fight of playing in the SEC. Make sure you're picking up DAWGSTRUCTION. Everybody have a good weekend. We'll see you over on the website. Get it before I have to order more books because there's a little bit of a lag there. Thanks for watching.